How's it going, everybody? It's LSB with some more light sports breakdown. Coming at you with some more NFL action. I'm going to be talking about the three most intense matchups this weekend and predict which team will come up top. With only 3 weeks remaining, including this week, there's not a lot of much room for error. So, with the teams that are currently in prime position to be guaranteed a playoff spot, there's not much concern for them. But for those that are still on the hunt, one bad move and it could all be over. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about my first most intense matchup this weekend. My first most intense matchup this weekend is between the Tampa Bay Bucks, who currently sit at 7-5, and the Minnesota Vikings that are 6-6. Excuse me. If the season were to end today, the Bucks would have the second wild card spot, while the Vikings are sitting at the third wild card spot. So both these teams would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. But unfortunately, it's not ending today, including after this week, there's only 3 weeks remaining. So it's unfortunate that these two teams have to face off because whoever wins, in essence, isn't going to increase their playoff position or hurt their playoff position. Because if the Vikings win, then they're going to basically flip-flop with the Bucks. They're going to take the second wild card spot while the Bucks will sit at the third. And looking on the outside looking in, the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at 6-6. So if they win their matchup against the Giants, then they'll be in great position to potentially steal a spot from either the Vikings or the Bucks. Well, let's talk about the matchup. So Tom Brady, the Bucks, on paper, should have a very legitimate, very elite Super Bowl contending team, Super Bowl or bust. They've been struggling the past couple of weeks, especially losing to the Chiefs and the Rams back-to-back weeks only by a field goal. So this is a very big matchup for them. If they can win this one, their next 3 games are pretty easy, and I can see them potentially finishing at a 11-5 record if all goes well. On the other side, with the Vikings, their record is 6-6. If they win, I don't know if it's guaranteed that they're going to win their next 3 games. So Tom Brady has a lot of weapons: Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. Team is stacked on offense, but Tom Brady hasn't been looking like himself lately, and we got to figure out which Bucks team we're going to be getting this week, and if they can show up, then no doubts will be made, and the Bucks will make it to the playoffs, wild card, or I don't know if they have a chance to go into their division, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them. And now on the other side, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins has been getting a lot of scrutiny because he got that big contract after being with the former team in the Washington football team. He has been struggling with the Vikings in this is his second or third season with the Vikings, and he's doing pretty well, but he's had a lot of help coming from their star running back, Dalvin Cook, who's on a tear, and an emerging star young wide receiver in Justin Jefferson, who has already over 1,000 yards this season and is the only other Viking to have 1,000 yards in his rookie season other than Randy Moss, which is an amazing feat. Congrats to him. But Vikings aren't a bad team. They've relatively stayed close with all their games. So I think this is going to be an intense matchup because of the ramifications of who loses, and there's not a lot of room for error. Like I said, if you lose, it could really deter you and really make it hard to get back into the playoff race. So it's better to win rather than to lose. And honestly, if I had to choose between the Vikings and the Bucks, honestly, I would pick the Bucks because they have a lot more weapons. They have a lot more guys. Their defense is scary. And I trust Tom Brady. I trust Tom Brady's legacy over Kirk Cousins, who hasn't had as much success as Tom Brady has over his career. So my final score predictions for this game would be the Bucks 34 and the Vikings 23.